Welcome to Shadowline News, where we cut through the noise to bring you the stories that shape our world. I'm your analyst, bringing you breaking developments from the Middle East, where a dramatic sequence of events has unfolded in just the past few hours, culminating in what President Trump is calling an end to the 12-day war between Israel and Iran. The story we're examining today began with Iran's missile attack on Al-Udeid air base in Qatar, home to thousands of American troops and the largest U.S. military facility in the Middle East. At approximately midday local time, Iran launched about a dozen short and medium-range ballistic missiles at the base, creating a moment of extreme tension that could have escalated into full-scale conflict between the United States and Iran. What makes this attack particularly significant is not just its audacity, but the calculated nature of its execution. According to U.S. and Iraqi officials, Iran provided advance notice of the strike, suggesting this was as much a message as it was a military action. The missiles were intercepted by Patriot defense systems, and crucially, no American casualties were reported. This detail transforms what could have been a catastrophic escalation into something resembling a choreographed demonstration of capability and restraint. President Trump's response has been equally calculated and revealing. Rather than rhetoric of retaliation, Trump thanked Tehran for the advance warning and dismissed the attack as a very weak response to recent U.S. strikes on Iranian nuclear facilities. This language is fascinating from a diplomatic perspective because it simultaneously minimizes the threat while providing Iran with a face-saving exit ramp from further escalation. The president's characterization of Iran having gotten it all out of their system suggests a sophisticated understanding of the domestic political pressures Iranian leadership faces after the U.S. struck Iranian nuclear facilities just 2 days prior. Iran's government needed to demonstrate that it would not allow such attacks to go unanswered. The missile strike on Al-Udeid served this purpose while carefully avoiding the kind of casualties that would have made American retaliation inevitable. This brings us to the broader strategic context that makes this news particularly significant. The timing of these events, occurring just 12 days into what Trump has termed the Israel-Iran war, represents a potential turning point in Middle Eastern geopolitics. The announcement of a ceasefire between Israel and Iran, made by Trump via social media, came within hours of the missile attack on the American base. This sequencing suggests that the Iranian strike may have been the final act in a carefully orchestrated diplomatic dance. The strategic implications of this ceasefire cannot be overstated. For over a decade, the specter of Israeli-Iranian conflict has hung over the region like a dark cloud, with periodic flare-ups threatening to ignite a broader conflagration. If Trump's announced ceasefire holds, it would represent the first sustained pause in hostilities between these two regional powers in years. However, the durability of this ceasefire remains highly questionable. Trump's statement that he hopes it will become permanent contains a note of uncertainty that reflects the fragile nature of Middle Eastern peace agreements. The fundamental issues driving Israeli-Iranian tensions, including Iran's nuclear program, its support for proxy groups throughout the region, and Israel's security concerns, remain largely unresolved. Vice President Vance's comments about seeking to build a long-term settlement for Middle East peace suggest the administration recognizes that this ceasefire is just the beginning of a longer diplomatic process. The challenge will be translating this temporary pause into lasting agreements that address the root causes of regional instability. From a domestic political perspective, Trump's handling of this crisis showcases his preference for personal diplomacy and unconventional communication strategies. His use of social media to announce the ceasefire, before Israeli or Iranian officials had confirmed it themselves, demonstrates his approach to diplomacy through public pressure and narrative control. This method carries both risks and potential rewards, as it can force parties into positions they might not have chosen through traditional diplomatic channels. The economic implications of this development are also worth examining. Regional stability in the Middle East has immediate effects on global energy markets, shipping routes, and investor confidence. The Persian Gulf handles approximately 20% of global oil transit, and any sustained conflict in the region sends ripples through international markets. The announcement of a ceasefire, if it holds, should provide some measure of stability to these critical economic arteries. Looking at the military dimensions, the Iranian attack on Al-Udeid reveals important information about Tehran's missile capabilities and strategic thinking. The choice to target this particular base, rather than other American assets in the region, was likely deliberate. Al-Udeid serves as the forward headquarters for U.S. Central Command's air operations, making it a symbolically significant target. That demonstrates Iran's ability to strike at the heart of American military presence in the region. While Qatar's role as a diplomatic mediator provided a somewhat safer environment for such a calculated escalation, the fact that Patriot missile defense systems successfully intercepted the incoming missiles also provides valuable intelligence about the effectiveness of American defensive capabilities against Iranian ballistic missiles. This information will likely influence future military planning on both sides, and could impact arms sales and defense partnerships throughout the region. What we are witnessing in these rapidly unfolding events is a masterclass in brinksmanship and calculated escalation. Iran's missile attack on Al-Udeid airbase, followed by Trump's announcement of an Israeli-Iranian ceasefire, represents a complex diplomatic dance where each party has achieved certain objectives, while avoiding the catastrophic consequences of full-scale war. The true test of this development will come in the days and weeks ahead. Ceasefires in the Middle East have an unfortunate history of being temporary pauses, rather than permanent solutions. The underlying tensions that have driven Israeli-Iranian hostilities for decades remain largely unaddressed. Iran's nuclear program, its regional proxy network, and Israel's security imperatives continue to create fundamental conflicts of interest that will require sustained diplomatic effort to resolve. For the international community, this ceasefire represents both an opportunity and a warning. The opportunity lies in the potential for broader regional stabilization. If this pause can be transformed into lasting peace agreements, the warning comes from the demonstration of how quickly regional tensions can escalate to the brink of war, and how the involvement of major powers like the United States can both complicate and potentially resolve such conflicts. As we continue to monitor these developments, the key indicators to watch will be whether Israeli and Iranian officials formally confirm this ceasefire, what specific terms may be involved, and whether the temporary pause in hostilities can create space for addressing the deeper issues that have fueled this conflict. This has been your analysis from Shadowline News, where we illuminate the stories that matter most. We'll continue following this developing story and its implications for regional and global stability.